primary education teachers officials led by Omboko Milember are today visiting a number of schools in Kakamega to check on the state of schools as teachers resume duties before schools reopen. Let's cross over live to our Willie Lusige. Good afternoon, Lusige. An ultimatum was issued to have all teachers report or rather resume duty today. Talk to us about what the situation is like in various schools.
Good afternoon, Grace, and even our viewers. Yes, indeed, most of the teachers have accepted the call by the TSC to report back to school. That is cutting across from primary school and secondary school so as they can prepare ahead of the reopening of schools, because we are aware that schools closed a number of months ago because of the outbreak of COVID-19. And what I want to do is just to speak with the people in charge of the teachers. That is the chairman, Kuppet Omboko Milember, and remember also is a member of parliament for Emuhaya. First of all, congratulations for being ranked the most performing member of parliament. But apart from that, let's discuss matters to do with education. Your teachers are back. Are they happy? Do they have concerns?
Thank you, Katie. And we have been visiting even some of the schools. And tonight here I'm with the officials of Kakamega. I'm with Mugala, who is the organizing secretary in Kakamega, and the secretary executive of Kakamega, Bwana Otota, is here with me. And the teachers are in schools. And we want to congratulate our teachers for having reported in schools on time. Some of them have even held staff meetings, and they have discussed a number of things. But what we have noticed is that there's no clear COVID-related rules that the teachers will be following as we open the schools, should the president be announcing this afternoon that the schools be open. So we'll demand that a clear structure of how the teachers will admit the students be done. We have also noticed that they are lacking everything in terms of money that can begin them off. So it's to ask the Minister of Education to quickly release the 13 billion in form of capitation that should go to all the schools for primary and secondary. We have also noticed that they don't have money for simple sanitizers within the schools, and they don't have money for water points in the schools, or even tanks where we don't have running water. So we also ask that this must be done quickly before we open the schools. We still further advise that it would be very good if we face the opening, so that we begin with the candidates and let the candidates use the entire school to achieve social distancing before we bring on the other kids. Otherwise, as a union, our teachers are ready, and what they are waiting for is the government to keep its part of the bargain, to provide those many things that are required for them to begin.
You have talked about the issue of spacing, and do you think even if the government provides money, there will be enough window period for maybe structures to be put in place for learners to use?
Notice that I've avoided to talk about putting up structures. I've talked about money for water, talked for sanitizers and face masks, and the general beginning of schools, because they require also just a chalk and other materials that are required in tuition. So that's why we need the capitation that usually comes from government. Remember, when the schools closed, sometimes in March, the government had not sent both the second term and third term capitation, and even the part of the first term capitation to schools. So that's the money I'm talking about. And also the government must make sure that all these students have face masks. And like I did ask the government recently, that the cost of face masks is not expensive, that with 1 billion alone, every child in Kenya will have 3 pairs of reusable masks, which they can begin with. And I think the government of Kenya should be able to provide that in the next 2-3 days before we open the schools.
As the chairman of Kuppet, maybe have you talked to the government about the issues that you have raised?
Thank you very much. Our Secretary General Akelo Misori is part and parcel of the meeting that is going on in State House, the COVID conference, and therefore our views are being channeled through that. We have also talked through him to put these views not only to the minister but to the president, so that also the teachers can be comfortable in the schools. And we shall be looking around very carefully, because we need to also protect the teachers. Remember, the young kids can easily be carriers, but the teachers themselves can easily contract and can get the disease. So we shall be on the watch out, and we hope the government shall be advised properly by the Minister of Health, so that the teachers also are kept safe.
Okay, it will be unfair to end this conversation without talking about your performance. You are ranked the top member of parliament in terms of performance. 30 seconds only.
Thank you. I want to thank God and the people of Emuhaya and the Kuppet fraternity, because without Kuppet I would never be an MP, and therefore all this glory I take it to God, take it to the people of Emuhaya, and more so Kuppet power.
Thank you so much. That is Omboko Milemba, the Member of Parliament for Emuhaya, and also the Chairman Kuppet, giving us a brief on, especially on now that we have seen teachers going back to their schools, both primary and secondary schools, in terms of preparation for the opening, which we expect maybe the President will touch on it on his address to the nation. And apart from that, also they're saying they're ready for schools to reopen, but they have a few things they need, and they hope that the Ministry of Education will keep its promise and to fulfill all those needs.
Indeed, thank you so much, Lusige, for that. And that's where we end it here.